Okay, Teddy, before we start, let's do our sleepy breaths. Smell the strawberries. Blow the dandelions. Smell the strawberries. Blow the dandelions. There. That's better. Now we're ready for the story. Benny and the Sleepy Garden Trail. It was the kind of summer evening where everything felt golden. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine, and even the bees seemed to be too drowsy to buzz properly. Benny had wandered a little farther than usual, past the butterfly bush, under the leaning willow, and into a part of the garden he didn't recognize. There, hidden behind tall grasses and a sleepy yawn of sunflowers, was a narrow little trail. It shimmered faintly, like it was made of stardust and old dreams. Benny stepped carefully onto it. The trail was soft, lined with petals and tiny moss cushions. Each step gave a little sigh, as if the path was glad to be walked on again. Then Benny heard it. Rustle, hum, sigh. A gentle sound, like the garden was humming a lullaby to itself. As he walked, Benny noticed tiny creatures nestled beside the trail. A bumblebee snoozing in a thistle's shadow, a ladybird curled up on a daisy like a bedtime book, a snail with a shell that glowed like the moon. They weren't in a hurry. Nobody was. The trail carved through arches of vines and sleepy lavender, leading Benny past soft whispers and fading light. Then he saw it. At the trail's end, a mossy stone bench with a blanket of sunlight draped across it. Benny sat down. The trail gave one last little sigh, as if saying, "Well done." And the garden, still humming its hush-hush tune, wrapped around him like a sleepy hug. Benny's eyes grew heavy. Petals swayed gently, and somewhere a breeze whispered, "Stay as long as you like." The end. Benny and the Cloud Collector. The sky was painted with sleepy streaks of peach and lavender as Benny floated gently on his evening cloud, paws behind his head, humming something only Teddy understood. He was just about to close his eyes when he spotted something curious. A kite? No, not quite. It was a net, floating mid-air, woven from spider silk and moon thread, glimmering faintly. And holding the net was a tall figure with a cloak made entirely of mist, standing on a platform made of stacked clouds. "Collecting clouds," Benny called out, drifting closer. The figure turned. She had kind eyes, a crown of feathers, and boots made of starlight. "I'm Mira," she said. "Cloud collector, I gather the ones that have stories." Benny blinked. "Clouds have stories?" "Oh yes," Mira nodded. Some clouds have drifted through lullabies, others have soaked up giggles or dreams or even a very good sneeze. She held up the net and caught a wispy pink cloud that sparkled slightly. This one smells like strawberry jam and sounds like a joke a squirrel once told. She handed it to Benny. He pressed his ear to it. It giggled. Benny laughed. Mira showed him her satchel of collected clouds, each one softly puffing and whispering. One held a sleepy lullaby. One smelled of campfire and marshmallows. One played the sound of a happy rain dance. "Would you like to catch one?" Mira asked. Benny nodded, with Teddy under one arm and the net in the other, swirled gently through the twilight sky. He caught a small cloud shaped like a heart. It purred. Mira tucked it gently into her satchel. "That one's special. You'll dream of it later." The stars blinked slowly as the sky dimmed. "Time to rest," Mira said, floating away on her misty platform. "Thank you, cloud friend." Benny watched her go, then curled up on his own cloud, which now smelt faintly of strawberries and told a very quiet joke in his ear. The end. Benny and the Marmalade Tree. Benny was walking through a field that smelt like warm toast and wildflowers. The sun was dipping low, and his cloud had parked itself nearby, snoozing on a hill. That's when he saw it. A tree, tall, twisty, and glowing faintly amber in the light. Its leaves shimmered gold, and hanging from the branches were little jars, dozens of them, tiny pots of marmalade, each one gently clinking in the breeze like wind chimes. Under the tree sat a badger, with speckled fur and a scarf the colour of sunrise. "Evening," the badger said, stirring a mug with something steamy and sweet. "Care for a story?" Benny nodded and sat beside him. "This here's the Marmalade Tree," the badger said. "Each jar holds a memory, the kind that makes your heart ache a little, in the nice way." "What do you mean?" Benny asked softly. "Well," the badger said, choosing a jar and holding it to the light, "I'll show you." He opened it, and from the jar poured a soft light like syrupy sunshine. A scene unfolded in the air, gentle and glowing. A young badger dancing on tiptoes in the kitchen, helping his mother stir a pot of bubbling jam. "I remember the smell," he said, smiling, "and the song she hummed." He handed Benny a different jar. Benny opened it. A soft breeze whooshed past, and suddenly he saw himself, smaller, tumbling down a grassy hill, giggling so hard he hiccuped. His mama bear was at the bottom, arms opened wide, ready to catch him. Benny's eyes went wide. "I forgot that." The badger nodded. "You didn't forget. It just tucked itself away. Nostalgia's like that. A warm ache for something lovely that's past, but still yours." They opened more jars. A rainy day fort made of cushions. A night when the stars blinked in rhythm with a lullaby. A picnic with too many strawberries and not enough napkins. Each memory drifted into the air, soft and sweet, then fizzled like a candle sighing out. When the sky turned navy and the jar stopped glowing, the badger gently patted Benny's paw. Some stories aren't meant to be read, just remembered. Benny curled up beneath the marmalade-scented branches, heart full of forgotten sweetness. He slept with a quiet smile. The end. Benny and the teacup that told the weather. The morning had been bright, the afternoon a little cloudy, but by evening the sky didn't seem to know what it wanted to be. Benny was inside his cloud cottage, folding a blanket, when he heard a faint clink, clink, clink from the shelf. It was coming from a teacup. A very particular one. Porcelain with tiny painted clouds and a gold-rimmed handle that curled like a snail's tail. It had always been there, though Benny couldn't quite remember where it had come from. He peered inside. The tea inside was swirling gently, even though no one had touched it. Then, to Benny's amazement, the tea spoke. Not with words exactly, but with images. Steam rose in soft patterns that shaped themselves into little scenes. A sunbeam stretching lazily through a treehouse window. A pair of wellies jumping into a puddle. A kite sailing up into a crisp blue sky. The teacup gave a happy little rattle. It was showing weather memories. Moments from days gone by, sunny ones, drizzly ones, thunderous giggly ones. The kind of weather you feel more than you remember. A gentle voice drifted from the steam. It wasn't quite the cup. It wasn't quite the tea. It was something in between. Would you like to see tomorrow's weather? It asked. Benny nodded. The tea stilled, then spun softly. A picture formed in the steam. A little bear dancing in the warm rain, with a bubble umbrella and puddles full of stars. Looks lovely, Benny whispered. The cup chimed once, plink, and the tea went still. Thank you, Benny said. He sipped once. It tasted like cinnamon and clouds. Then he set the cup back on its shelf, where it gave one final swirl before settling. Outside, the sky had made up its mind. A quiet drizzle began, not gloomy, just thoughtful. And Benny climbed into bed with a smile, ready for the rain he already knew would feel just right. The end. Benny and the Trumpet That Dreamed. The night air was cool and velvety, full of the hush that only comes when even the trees are nearly asleep. Benny drifted through the sky on his cloud, ears twitching. Then he heard it. A trumpet. But not bold or brassy. This one sounded like it was dreaming. He floated down to a little hilltop clearing where a fox in a long coat sat beneath a paper moon, cradling a trumpet that shimmered like starlight. The fox didn't open his eyes. He just played soft, slow notes that hung in the air like floating feathers. Each note seemed to carry a memory, a yawn you didn't realize you were holding. The smell of books on a quiet afternoon. A dance you did once in your socks when no one was looking. Benny sat beside the fox, wrapped in the music. "Is it dreaming?" Benny whispered. The fox gave a tiny nod. "It only plays what the night gives it." The trumpet sighed out another gentle phrase. The stars blinked slowly in time. And Benny felt the notes sink into his fur like a blanket warming from the inside. The fox finally opened one eye and said, "Tonight's tune is about quiet joy, the kind you don't notice until it's gone." He played one last soft note. And silence folded over them like velvet. Benny yawned. He curled up at the fox's side as the trumpet gleamed quietly in the moonlight, not needing to play anymore. It had dreamed its dream, and so did Benny. The end.